How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping out another video. Right, guys, a subscriber's asked me to do a video about life after prison, which is a very, very good idea, and I can't believe I've not thought of it myself, actually. So thank you to that subscriber. The name at the moment slips my mind. So, life after prison. Now, I want to make a disclaimer straight off the bat. Every prisoner that leaves prison has got a different sort of situation, whether it be their home life, family life, private life, like I say, living arrangements and stuff like that, because there are people, as mad as this might sound, in 2018, there are a lot of prisoners, thousands and thousands of prisoners that leave prison. Not every prisoner leaves prison goes into a bail hostel or an halfway house or an homeless hostel, right? Because there's more people than there are spaces in that regard. So like I say, there are thousands of prisoners that leave prison and just go straight back into the gutter, or they've had accommodation and then they've lost their accommodation because they've been in prison. Because, guys, not everyone that's in prison's got a family and a support network and like hundreds of thousands of pounds in the bank. Not at all. These people, before offenders were ever offenders, they was first victims, and I mean that like in the sense of childhood, mental health issues. Parents were addicts, they were addicts, bullied at school, Asperger's syndrome, sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, grown up in care leavers, things like that. Very vulnerable, susceptible people for the most part, a lot of prisoners. Yes, people see the crimes, but they don't see the root cause of offending. And it's quite frustrating, that, to be honest. So anyway, guys, so like I say, you can have 10 guys leaving prison the same day. Right? One might be married and he's got a missus and a kids, and she's stuck by him, and they're a family unit and they're a team, and like she's waiting outside the prison with him with the kids, or the kids are at school and things like that. Then the next person, he might have lost his accommodation. He might have had accommodation when he went to prison, but because he's had no support network or family or finances, he's been evicted from the property. He's now homeless. Right? They kick him out the door with £46. Fend for yourself. The next person, they might have come to prison as an addict or on another drug. They tried spice. They become addicted to spice. Through their family ties, the family might have cut ties with them. They're like, you know what, we're washing our hands of you, or his missus has washed his hands of him, so he's got nowhere to go. He's got £46 in his pocket. He's addicted to spice. Where's he going? He's going to go and score spice, isn't he? As soon as that money's run out, how does he feed that habit? He commits crime. Eventually, he'll get caught, and as soon as he gets caught, back to prison. Recall, breach, bam. You know what I mean? It goes on. And the revolving door goes again. The system is as broken, guys, as those that are entering it. A million percent. Not every prisoner leaves prison and has somewhere to go. No, not at all. And there's a story that I'm going to do further up my time, like in a few videos, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Reference that. If someone hasn't got a core foundation to work up from, the simple fact is there's a high probability that they're going to commit crime again and go straight back to prison. The only people that thrive in prison, or not thrive, are the ones that have got nothing on the outside. Prison is a punishment for those that have got family, kids, missus, and something to live for on the out. And it's as simple as that. I mean, my situation was, I was in prison on my last stretch. I was racking up rent arrears on the property that I had. They were serving me eviction notices and stuff like that. They was looking to get me out because obviously I'm in prison. The rent arrears are racking up. I'd spent my money, guys. I'd made money, I'd lost money, I'd made money, I'd lost money. It was like coloured bits of paper. I grew up with nothing, so I didn't value money at the time. I still don't, to be honest. So yeah, my mum was paying for my rent arrears through her credit card, which I only found out from her partner at the time. She couldn't clear them, but she was paying like as much as she could off. She was working minimum wage, guys. I felt like a scumbag, you know what I mean? So I left prison that day. I made her a promise I wouldn't be going back, and I'm not going to put her through that again. Sound like a mummy's boy, don't I? But I'm not. I just saw what my criminality was doing to my mum. Left prison, went to probation. She wasn't ready for me, so I went to get some breakfast. Went back to probation. Was back at the flat for a time, and then ended up moving out of that flat where I was living because I had to downsize to a one bed, and then I'm there to this day. I stay, you know what I mean? So I started afresh. But yeah, it was a very, if I would have lost my property, like before I'd left prison, or I didn't have my mum on the outside, I would have lost my property, and I would have been so back in crime. Like, it's untrue. There's fewer police on the streets, guys, right? And obviously I was good before, so I was going to be better this time, but I didn't want to go down that route, and I made my mum a promise. And I've been out of prison, 20 months, 22 months. Yeah, 22 months I've been out of prison. And I have not reoffended. And the thing is as well, I want to go on to employment and stuff like that, because like, and I'm ashamed to say this, guys, and it's the reality of my situation, like many prisoners, I'm on benefits, right? And I don't want to be on benefits. It's fucking shameful. It's not shameful. There are a lot of people out there that need to be on benefits and stuff like that, because otherwise homelessness and crime and just everything would be even worse than what it is now. But me as a guy I've worked, I've not worked, I've done criminal stuff, and then I've worked legally, so I had a legal source of income. I've done a lot of things, and like now, I was applying for jobs, man, left, right, and centre. I applied for Virgin Active as a cleaner, part-time cleaner. I've got no discernible skills. I've got no GCSEs to my name. When you're filling in the a job application form, have you got any convictions, spent or unspent, in the past 12 months or the past 2 years or whatever it might say? And you're like, if you lie, this is your situation you find yourself in. If you lie and they find out and they offer you the job and they find out, you're getting sacked. If you tell them the truth, you're an ex-offender, you've been to prison, and then they've got 50 other candidates that are whiter than white, that have never been in trouble, that have got experience in that field. Because like I said, I was a cleaner in prison. I worked as a cleaner in prison. I started a cleaning course in Strangeways, got shipped to Forest Bank the next day, and then, like I say, I spent my rest of the time, got out, went back, and then finished, and then went back again a third and final time. And on the third and final time, they gave me a cleaning job at Forest Bank. They knew I did interviews with the media, and then I got a tap on the back and said, do you want a job? I said, doing what? He said, there's a cleaner on the wing. I said, yeah. He said, move from 27 to 47 on Millionaire's Row. You're a cleaner. So I was like, oh, buzzing, sweet. How much you get? I was like, yes, £50 a week, £60 a week. Right? Because I didn't know how much you got. I got a whopping £11.25 a week. Then they took a pound off me for my telly. So I worked 7 days a week for £10.25. So I was being exploited, guys. Anyone that works in prison is being exploited. It's as simple as that. How is that supposed to... Being exploited, working... Like I say, because it was induction wing, we work 7 days a week, because you've got to turn around constantly. People leaving the wing and joining the wing every fucking day. It's crazy, man. It really, really is. So how is working for that pittance of weight? You can earn more. You can earn 15, 18, 20, 22, 25, 28, 30s, like pound a week, yeah. But how is that working, being exploited in that regard? How is that supposed to give you a sense of self-worth? Simple, guys. It doesn't, does it? But the fact is I was going for a minimum wage job now, legally, above board, right? I wanted to work legally, even though it was part-time. So as a cleaner, I'd done it in prison. Obviously, I can't put that on my thing. Yes, the governor, yeah, he will give me a character reference or an employment reference, because when I was in his prison, I worked 7 days a week, because he ain't going to get the job. It's a really hard situation, and when you leave prison, you really are up against it. I have had hundreds, probably 100, well over 100 job rejections. Easy, probably towards 150, right? Job rejections. So you sat there and you're trying to better yourself. You're trying to become a productive member of society. You've turned your back on criminality now. You've turned down, people are popping up in this time, offering me money to go back to do work and to do graft and hurt people and all that bullshit, right? And I'm turning it down. And then I'm surviving. At the time, I was on ESA, Employment and Support Allowance. I was getting £73 a week. I had bills to pay out of that: gas, electric, TV licence, water, you know what I mean? All these things. I was trying to pay my mum back as well. £73 a week, guys. Right? And then, like I say, the situation was dire, man. And I came to a crossroads and I thought, I was sick of getting job rejection. I sat there and I thought, I'm just going to go back to crime. I came to a crossroads and I thought, you know what? What is the point in me changing my criminal behaviour and the way I conduct myself and project myself if wider society and employers can't see past the ex-offender tag? And it was smashing. It was doing me head in. And like I say, there's courses in prison. Some prisoners get it, some prisoners don't. There's no consistency. Every prisoner in prison should get skills training, education, reintegration, resettlement, and do you know what I mean? And it just stresses me out. Like, there's a lot of good people trying to do a lot of great things in and around the criminal justice system, 1,000,000%, but there's not enough of them. And the tide is definitely changing in the regard of, like, anyone that speaks out for prisoners or the state of prisons, whether it be a prison officer, whether it be the Prison Governors Association, whether it be the Howard League for Penal Reform, whether it be me, whether it be other prisoners, we're keeping the pressure on the Ministry of Justice. And there's a lot of promises in this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Talk is cheap, man. Like I say, prisons need to be based, prisons can't be punitive and rehabilitative in the same instance. You can't punish and reform and rehabilitate at the same time. You just can't. The punishment, the punitive measure of prison is losing your liberty. Once we get over that, prison needs to be places of skills training, education, reintegration, resettlement. And then, like, we need companies that are given financial incentives so that they employ ex-offenders. To say, right, if you take on this ex-offender for a 2-year period, at the end of that 2 years, we'll give you, I don't know, $2,000 or something. Because they're going to be like snapping prisoners up, because we are the scourge of society. And some people, in some people's eyes, we're not. There's some very good people with a lot of entrepreneurial ideas in prison. There's a lot of people in prison that have got great potential and great ideas, but it's just on one platform. It's just bubbling away. No, there's no sense of direction. It's not because they don't want to. It's because they don't know how to. And if that was channeled in the right path, then I think a lot of prisoners could turn their back on crime. Prison should be places to nurture prisoners. Show them. You re-engage them. Prisoners are does prison work in the current climate? Absolutely not. It dehumanises you, it desensitised you, it demoralises you, and it makes you even more disenfranchised than when you entered the system. And with fewer police on the streets since 1996, since comparable records began, and policing, frontline policing and policing in general has been decimated under this Tory Conservative government, prisons are the last line of defence. Reoffending costs the taxpayer, guys, £13.5 to £15 billion a year, annually in reoffending rates. The system is broken. And like I say, if every prisoner got skills training, education, reintegration and resettlement, would they all pass and become law-abiding citizens? No, I'm not stupid. No, of course. But if you give people the opportunity and show them you can be successful, you can earn money. Example, right? I'm going to the University of Salford, right, this week, yeah, to speak, right? Now, I actually turned down the money. I said, look, you didn't pay me last time. I'm not bothered about the money. I'll do it for free. How much should I get paid to do that? £50 an hour. I'm a thick, uneducated street kid, guys, with no discernible skills, not a GCSE to my name, thick as pig shit. Most of us, not talking about me, I can read and write, but most prisoners, a lot of prisoners, like a high percentage, have got the reading age of a 9 to 11-year-old. Right? Can't read, can't write, we can count money though. And you know what? I'd rather be in a room full of prisoners, right, that have got life experience like we have, like we all have, right, and be around them than be around some snooty, like, up their own arse people that they, because we've got GCSEs, we've got O-levels and A-levels and named things after you. That's great for you, mate. Academia and academics can get you so far, but then you need to back that up with real life experience. A lot of prisoners that leave prison should be going into schools, getting involved with youth work. I'm not telling people what to do. I'm just putting out ideas out there, because we are the best people in place to change the lives of the up and coming generation. Poverty's everywhere. Youth services have been cut. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, prison doesn't work. Prison succeeds. The current climate of prisons, with the, like I say, with it how it is and stuff like that, and the conditions and the treatment and the regimes and stuff, and understaffing and the spice epidemic and mental health and stuff, doesn't work. Makes people worse. Surely the aim of prison, for those on the right side of the tracks that think this guy's talking shit, I say to you this: surely the aim of prison is so that you leave the prisoners, whether it be me or any other prisoners that are in the system now, right, that they leave in a better position than when they entered, i.e., so they don't go on to reoffend. Surely that's the aim. Because if you want to brutalise prisoners thinking that's going to be a deterrent or it's going to be conducive to rehabilitation, you're absolutely clueless and you don't know nothing about prison. And if you want to brutalise prisoners in that regard, you shouldn't then complain when a prisoner gets out of prison and goes on to mug you for your phone or steal your card or whatever, because you want to brutalise prisoners, and that doesn't actually aid rehabilitation. If anything, it makes the problem a whole lot worse. I don't know nothing about nothing, guys. The only thing I'm probably good at is talking. There's no filter here. It just comes out and it just things, and the words seem to come out. They don't always make sense. I'm I have scatterbrain where I jump from one story to the next, to the next, to the next, and then I'll go back to the first story, then I'll jump to the third, then I'll start a fifth, and then I'll go back to the second, because my thought process is at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I've got the attention span of a goldfish. But yeah, guys, like I have suffered immeasurably. My mental health has suffered. I spiraled into depression because I couldn't get a job. I'm thinking, hold on. It's almost as if the system's like, you're a no good criminal. You don't deserve a second chance in society, right? And Circle are actually running a thing at the moment called Ban the Box. And what it's trying to do is stop prejudice against people that have received convictions and been into prison. Because we've got a hell of a lot. If we can work in prison and suffer immeasurably in prison and work for pittance halfpenny, being exploited to the highest extent, if you give that prisoner minimum wage, I believe all prisoners that work in prison should get minimum wage anyway, and then you can pay a bit towards their upkeep and stuff like that, because you can only spend so much on your canteen depending on what your IEP status is. IEP standing for incentives and privileges. Obviously you've got basic, you've got entry, standard and enhanced. Yeah, you can only spend so much, so the rest of that money should go into a savings account. The longer you're in prison, the more money you'll have. If you shit with money and you've got no address up on release, they should then broker it and say, right, we'll put money down on a property for you, pay your bond, your deposit, until you can get your, if you have to go on the dole or whatever, get your benefits or universal credit if that's been rolled out in your area, so that you can get up on your feet. You've got a foundation. You've got a foundation. If you've got a foundation, you can work up from. If there's no foundation there, the reality is you're going straight back into the gutter, going straight back to crime. And like I say, most of the people that are on the streets, and without stereotyping them, are addicts and substance misusers and alcoholics and stuff. And I don't blame anyone that's got an addiction. Addiction for me is a coping mechanism. It's a contributing factor to a much further bigger problem, to be honest. And being in prison, guys, the longer you're in prison, the more criminal connections you make. And like I say, it's almost as if the system's like, you're a criminal, you're a criminal, you're a dirty criminal, you don't deserve it. So it's you literally come to a point, and I've come to this point so many times where I've thought, you know what, I just want to go back to crime. It's all I know. I don't know anything else. I can make money through violence or whatever I'm doing. I can make money that way. I'm sat here struggling, doing YouTube videos for free, putting my time and effort into them, which takes me forever to do, right? Struggling by. And you know what? It's frustrating and it angers me, and the odds are stacked against us. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of prisoners that leave prison and they've got a missus and they've got friends of a friend of a friend that's got a business or a company that gives them a job. Fantastic for them, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm not jealous or envious of them in any which way, and I've got nothing but love and support for them. But it's the few that are surviving and getting on and getting a second chance, and it's the rest of us that are falling back into the perils. And some people don't even get that chance to fail first. They just fall straight back into the gutter. If you're living almost on the streets, right, and you pick up an addiction, or you've been to prison. I've seen people go to prison for the first time, having never taken drugs in their life, and are leaving as drug addicts, or worse, in body bags. It's a scary situation. People take drugs for many different reasons, coping mechanism, to black something out, literally. And like I say, people take drugs in prisons for many different reasons. Some are peer pressured into it, some are bullied into it, some people are spiked, which really angers me. I think that's disgusting when people spike somebody intentionally for a laugh, especially when you see the side effects of spice. It's a horrible drug. Some people take it to escape the reality of their surroundings. Like I say, there's many different reasons. And then you start taking drugs, and then you get it on tick. And where you've got contraband, you've got debt. Where you've got debt, you've got fear, intimidation, bullying, and violence. Prison, psychologically, will take a bit of everybody. You might fully leave prison, but prison will never fully leave you. Anyone that's been in prison, right, what we do as guys, we do this whole macho thing, oh yeah, prison's easy, mate, and all this, right? You can have a laugh in prison, 1,000,000% you can have a laugh. But what you don't see is when grown men are saying, you know what, behind my door, I'm smashing my pad up because I miss my missus, or I can't with my kids on a birthday, or my missus has just blown up me, or she's using the kids as a weapon, or, do you know what I mean? Loads of different scenarios, you know what I mean? And like I say, there's some good kids in prison. Now, people might say, good kids in prison, are you mad? There are a lot of good kids in prison that have been victims of circumstance and have become products of their environment. And people see the offences, but they don't see the root cause of offending. And prisoners deserve a second chance. What society needs to remember is, prison isn't there to respond to society's emotions and stuff. And what society has to remember is, while they wanted to brutalise us and give us bread and water and, do you know what I mean, like in shackles and not have visits and stuff and all this stuff, what you need to remember, society, those on the right side of the tracks that are watching this, 99% of prisoners, unless they're serving a whole life tariff, are going to be reintegrated into society at some point. And what you need to remember is how we treat them whilst they are in prison that will dictate and determine how they act upon release. If you want to brutalise a prisoner and make him even more disenfranchised meaning that they don't have a stake in society, even more so, like whilst in prison, then do you really believe that that's going to be conducive to rehabilitation and act as a deterrent? No, it's not. It makes the problem worse. And with fewer police on the streets, the last thing you want is these angry guys that have been brutalised leaving prison with more criminal connections because they've been in prison for years and going straight back to doing what he was doing. It's the reality, guys. Well, I don't know nothing about nothing. Do you know what I mean? I just talk and shut. I just talk and talk and talk. Do you know what I mean? But I'm passionate about it. There's some good kids in prison. There's a lot of dickheads in prison, but there's a lot of good kids in prison. And given half a chance, they would survive. Given skills and training and education, there are educational courses in prison. You can do welding and MIG welding and different things, right? But you can have you can get qualifications in prison, or you can rot away behind your door. You've got education, or you've got medication. Do you know what I mean? For the most part, it's really, it angers me, guys. I'm very passionate for prisoners, and I've got this opportunity to go to Wales a week on Sunday, a week tomorrow, to go to Wales, to go to a certain prison for 5 days to speak to every different prisoner in a prison, like in a classroom sort of scenario, right, about this sort of stuff. Like trying to motivate prisoners, we need to nurture them and stuff. We need to show them there is another way. But the fact is, I can't really say that because I'm at the crossroads. I'm at the crossroads where I want to get right and I want to do the right thing. But the more I get rejection and stuff, the more you start to look at your life of crime and think, is it destined that I need to go down this path? And it's the good versus evil thing. It's the risk versus the reward. If I do it, is the reward good? And the fact is, I don't want anyone to go back to crime. But the reality is, people have got to do what they've got to do to survive. And if the system's broken, and it's the system who are there to rehabilitate us, even though rehabilitation to me is a politician's word, it's a made-up word. So people like the Justice Secretary David Gork and the Prisons Minister Rory Stewart can wear suits, feel important, whilst getting paid whacking wages. I mean, I probably care more about these prisoners than prison officers, 1,000,000% I do. Because I've been there and we've done it, do you know what I mean? My experience in prison is no different to anyone else. I just do vlogs. Someone comes across tomorrow and starts doing vlogs, it'll push me out of the boat. I'm not bothered. I'm not trying to be a YouTube star. I like it. It helps me psychologically by putting these out there, and hopefully it helps other people. Because everyone that watches the channel, guys, not everyone that's watched the channel is a prisoner's girlfriend or a female offender that's been in prison themselves, because we've obviously got female offenders. They're not all former prisoners and prisoners' families. There's people that are interested in and around the criminal justice system but don't know. Like, they don't know anything about prison. Yeah, it's just crazy, guys. That's just the way it is. I'm interested to know what you guys think. It's not about what I think. I say what I say. You might agree with me in parts. You might think I'm talking shit. Let me know what you think, guys. I'm always interested with the debate and the discussion. Put your comments in the comment section below and let me know what you think. Like I say, you guys have got some of you got great experience and stuff like that. I need to interview more of you guys. The interview with Wayne that I did, the former prisoner who'd also served like 5 years in Broadmoor and then 5 years in medium security facilities till he got to a low-level security facility. He asked me to take the vlog down because it opened up old wounds and psychologically it messed him up, and I feel really guilty for that. And I took the video down out of respect because he asked me to. Anyway, guys, I've waffled on for 23.5 minutes, so I'll let you guys let me know what you think. Put your comments in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.